I'm here tonight with my good friend and customer, Pete Gauthier. We also call him Captain Pete. Captain Pete, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dustin. It's great to be here and great to be with everyone on the call tonight.
And Mike Barnes is also standing by, going to be taking your questions for Captain Pete as we go. So feel free to use the GoToWebinar interface to send in your questions as they arise. Tonight's call is on increasing your monthly cash flow using Captain Pete's wholesaling strategies. So, Pete, before we get started, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself?
Great. I'd be happy to, Dustin. Everybody calls me Captain Pete, and by profession, I'm a pilot with the airlines. And, believe me, I didn't give myself the nickname Captain Pete. I used to fly years ago to the Caribbean, and for an entire year, twice a week, I'd fly to the island of St. Croix. And it was just one of the best layovers in the system. And it was really funny. The limo driver who would take us to the hotel, his name was Vincent, and he would just laugh every time he'd pick up our crew because he'd go, he says, I can always tell it's you flying, Captain Pete. The airplane's here 20 minutes early. And so that's where the name Captain Pete came from, and that was given to me by the limo driver Vincent. So it stuck. The whole island there knew me as Captain Pete, and then it spread from there, and so that's how I became known as Captain Pete.
All right. Well, let's get started with the show.
Okay, everybody. I want to talk to you today about strategic wholesaling, and that is everything about it: the who, what, when, where, the why, and how. And let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Captain Pete. I fly professionally. I'm an airline pilot, and I've been flying with the airlines 28 years. That's my smiling mug on the left side there of that cockpit view. And I fly the jumbo jets across to Europe, and I've done that for over 10 years, flying the jumbos. And if you take a look at the mountain range on the right, that's the Swiss Alps, and if you can see the little pointy peak in the middle of that picture, that's the Matterhorn. If you take a look at the slide if you take a look at the bottom slide with the water view and the little island there, that's Venice. So that's the Mediterranean Sea and the town of Venice. So the cockpit view you see there is the Boeing 767. It's a wide body. I'm now flying a bigger jet, which is the Airbus A330, and again, I'm flying that just exclusively back and forth the Atlantic to Europe.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike showed me one of your YouTube videos recently where you were taking off from somewhere in Italy and flying back here to the States.
Yeah, if you ever
that's a pretty interesting little shot.
Yeah, if anyone on the call wants to see what my airborne office is, as I call it, I've got it posted on my website, www.investorbusstours.com, and you can click on the video and get a bird's eye view. That takeoff is a live takeoff. I had my second officer recording it, and even though it looks like we're out in the sticks, believe it or not, that was Rome's Fiumicino Airport. And minutes after the takeoff, you can see we're climbing out immediately over the Mediterranean Sea, and you get a bird's eye view of what it's like in the cockpit. Later in the video, you actually get a glimpse of what it's like to land a jumbo jet coming back into the United States. So I've got the landing filmed as well, and I've got all the audio, and you can get a real feeling for what it's like. But anyway, here's some of the things I want to share. A lot of people think it's really neat to fly jets, especially the jumbo jets, and in terms of a professional aviation career, this is just about as high as it goes, flying captain on the wide-body jets. I have to say it's a lot of fun. I love actually operating the machines, but, I got to tell you, the world changed 9/11, Dustin, and when 9/11 hit, it had many, many dramatic effects on me, both directly and indirectly. I mean, when the jet hit the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, one of my friend's wives was a flight attendant on the jet that went in the Pentagon, and she was lost on that day. And then a gal who I had grown up with as a kid, and every weekend our families would be together, and we'd picnic. Almost every Saturday we'd picnic at one of the parks around the Washington, D.C. area. Well, she was a bond trader up on the 101st floor of the World Trade Center. And so when the one jet went through there, she was in the building, and and was never seen or heard from again. So
wow.
it had a very, very direct impact on me. But here are the other impacts that 9/11 had on Captain Pete. A ripple effect in the airline industry took over that caused all the major carriers to tip over into bankruptcy. In the case of the airline that I fly for, not only once but twice. Now, I don't know how many of the listeners, are working in corporate America. I don't know how many have been through bankruptcies, but I'll tell you this: it's not fun at all. Now, as a professional pilot, it's a great job. I don't think there's a better job in the country in terms of working for an employer. But let me tell you, folks, it is a job. And after the bankruptcies, during the first one, our pay was slashed about 40%, and this was the real kicker. I had earned a six-figure pension already. Okay, being with the airlines, 25 years, 20 years plus, I'd earned a six-figure pension. With the stroke of a pen, it was gone overnight.
Yep, I've seen it many times.
As if it didn't exist. Now, if you're in your 20s, it's easy to make up for that. You just go down another path. But when you're in your late 40s and that happens, it's extremely devastating. So here I had my pay slashed. I had my working conditions totally turned upside down, and then my pension cut. I had to scratch and that wasn't all, because now I'm still wondering, as the second round of bankruptcy goes through, whether or not the carrier is even going to stay in business. So imagine this. Here I am. I'm at the top of my profession, and if you think of it in terms of a ladder up against the tree, I found out my professional ladder was up against the wrong tree.
Right.
And so I had a decision to make, and that is I could be victim or I could be victor. And it was an opportunity to really be reinvented as, okay, who am I going to be going forward? If I'm not going to ever fly again, then what is it that I want to do? And real estate is an area that I always was interested in and always wanted to pursue. So I began my real estate investing shortly after 9/11 as purely as a defensive mechanism. And it's really funny how it all evolved. It was late one night. It was one of those late night TV shows, and a guy we always see about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning was on the show, and I bought his course for, I don't know, $299, whatever it was. And the course was totally worthless. But the one thing that really opened the doors was I had never heard of a RIA club before, a real estate investment club. And so I started going to the local one in D.C., and through that the doors started opening. I got training from people in the local RIA. That opened more doors, and I got to meet Robin Thompson, who is, I think, the premier educator on rehabbing houses in the country. And I've been through all of Robin's training. As a matter of fact, I've been to all of her training several times, and she and I have become very close. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yes, she was just down here at our RIA group about 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, and she and I
know her very well. Real nice lady.
She's absolutely the best. She's got a heart of gold, and just like you, Dustin, and like me, she believes in delivering content, and she does, and she actually pours her heart and soul into everything she does. So I was well trained by Robin, and we became good friends, and I'm actually one of her coaches in her nationwide coaching program now. And my local area is the Washington-Baltimore area. I started rehabbing houses in Baltimore, and actually started this whole business as a rehabber, Dustin. And I'd buy the junkers and fix them up and make them drop dead gorgeous and sell them retail, and then do it again. And then to that, I added the wholesaling component. To date, I've done 70-plus deals, and what I've really put a focus on is creating a wholesaling machine. So not only do I wholesale a lot of houses, I put together bus tours where, on a given Saturday, I'll sell 5 or more houses in one fell swoop.
Yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to coming to one of your bus tours and seeing how you do it.
Well, I just may come down to Atlanta and do one in your backyard for you.
Well, hey, I'd love for you to do it, and I'm serious about that too.
Okay. Well, you and I have to talk that through because I think that'd be fun. Let's get started talking about what is wholesaling.